Welcome, 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 everybody. Um, so my name's Roger Mancastroppa. For those who don't know me, I go by Roger or I go by Mac, whatever sounds good to you. Um, this is Midweek Mindfulness as put on by Alumni Relations. So great thanks and much gratitude to Leah and the crew for managing this for all of us. So we are in step 2, I guess, of an introduction um, to Koru. And Koru meditation is it was created by Holly Rogers out of Duke University. She's become a good friend. I actually am a part of the first class of trainers who are now able to train new trainers. Um, but it's a really neat program. They did a lot of research and a lot of study to see the real benefits of mindfulness and meditation and how it can really help in so many different aspects of our lives, from just really getting to know ourselves, learning to manage our thoughts and emotions, managing our stress, which a lot of people are very interested in. But it also helps us sometimes redefine our relationships. It can help us really, really enrich and really enliven our connection to everything around us. Um, Food can become tastier. Walking can all of a sudden become a profound experience. And just spending time or observing things that sometimes we just glaze right by on autopilot. It's like when you're driving to work and you're just focused on, you know, staying safe and getting where you're going, right? But there's so many things that are going by that we're not taking into account. And sometimes that's a really neat thing to learn from, right? So when you think about trees on your drive to work, like imagine if you really examined every tree on your drive to work and maybe had an emotional experience about that tree. Like you'd be exhausted by the time you got to work. That would be way too much, right? Um, and a tree, seeing a tree is just an event in our consciousness. That's all it is. It's just another event in our consciousness. And our thoughts, at their very foundation, they really are the same thing, right? They're just another event in our consciousness. So sometimes we cling to our thoughts, and sometimes we try to push them away. And in both cases, what we do is we repeat them, right, over and over again. And that thought then activates an emotion, and that emotion activates a specific chemical reaction in the body, which then reinforces the thought that reinforces the emotion. And sometimes we like this, right? Those are the ones we cling to, right? Like having, blowing out the candles on your birthday cake every year because you love that part, right? And that's a wonderful moment, and we savor it in that moment. But if all of a sudden you're like, but I want to blow out my candles every day, right? Like that would become too much, right? We would be clinging to that event, and it could become really unhealthy, and it would lose its flavor. It would lose its um, the joy that comes with it. And then by the same token, very often things come into our awareness and we try to push them away, but then we're afraid they'll come back. And so we repeat that over and over again, right? Especially when you're like trying to lie down and go to sleep at night. So mindfulness and meditation can really help us manage those thoughts and feelings and our way of being in the world. And it's not to neglect our thoughts and feelings in any way, shape, or form, but to actually be open to fully experiencing them in a safer way, maybe in a gentler way, so that we don't become overwhelmed by the thought and the feeling, but we can really fully experience it. And at the same time, also be the awareness that is watching us experience that. So with practice, that's where we end up. But one of the things that in Koru that we teach, which is our first lesson for today. We're going to sit here just a minute for about 2 minutes just to kind of settle in. And then I'm going to introduce you to dynamic breathing. And we're going to do kind of a modified version because dynamic breathing can be a little much for some people in its full blown version. But I'll introduce you just to a little gentler version of it that I think you'll appreciate. So go ahead and get into your comfortable position, whether that's seated or reclined or lying down or whatever feels best to you. And I'll go ahead and begin with an invitation to the bell. And we're just going to sit for a couple of minutes and follow our breath and kind of get grounded in our bodies. So go ahead and settle down in. And maybe start with a nice full deep breath in through the nose. And I invite you to extend your exhale nice and long. Back in through the nose. Nice, long, slow exhale. Nice, slow inhale. Feeling the abdomen expand, the chest rise, and then back out. I tend to breathe out my mouth so that people can hear how long I'm extending the breath. But find a comfortable way for you. In and out of the nose is great. If you can't breathe through your nose right now, in and out of your mouth is fine. But just go ahead and observe your breath as you breathe in and out. And ever so gently, just let each in-breath get a little more gentle and a little more gentle until your body just starts to take over your breathing, just like it's done your entire life. And now just noticing the feeling, the sensation of the breath. And taking another nice deep breath in through the nose and holding it at the top. Okay, and now feeling that nice settled feeling, I want to invite you to try something new. In the world we live in today, very often there are situations and there are times where people can become really overwhelmed with what's happening. And it could be where you're physically overwhelmed. Um, when I was a kid, we used to call that hysterical. That person's become hysterical. And it could be for a very good reason. I mean, we seldom do that without a really good reason. But sometimes we also do it internally, right? When the thoughts start to spiral out of control, and usually it's fear driven, right? And if we're not connecting with our fear, then maybe it rises up as anger or grief or regret or something along those lines. And it can really be overwhelming. And in those instances, sometimes it's hard to just take a deep breath and sit with it. Um, so what I want to offer today is a way to kind of hijack the system, so to speak, right? We're going to hack our sympathetic nervous system to turn it in a healthy direction, right? By intentionally controlling it. This can be also super helpful if you're driving and you get sleepy, or if you're staying up and you're working on something that makes you tired and you need to just go ahead and finish it. And you just need a little burst of energy, but you don't want to drink a cup of coffee because then you won't be able to sleep when you get home, right? So it's kind of a neat way to manage two different situations, right? The one where we just really need to calm, right, or get control of ourselves, or the other side where we really need to like get that burst of energy in order to manage something that we have going on. So now, just as a just as a gentle warning, we're going to be breathing very deeply and very rapidly in and out. So it's really, really important that you, number one, we want to sit down, right? So be seated in a chair, be seated on a couch, on the edge of your bed. We want to be careful with this. If you feel a little too lightheaded or if you feel overwhelmed, by all means, just slow things down. And if for some reason, right, or if you have a heart condition or if you have other reason why this might not be a good practice for you, maybe just sit and observe your breath and just follow along and watch how funny I look as I do this. So the most important thing is that you're really truly safe. But if you're able to and you feel safe and comfortable managing this, you'll find that it's a really, really powerful practice. I find that it helps me before I prepare to exercise. I find that it's really helpful when something really, really heavy hits really hard and fast, and we weren't expecting it. It's a way to manage ourselves. So, I will model the behavior, and then I'll lead you in the practice. So you want to start. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with our breath, and we're just going to breathe in and out of our nose. Okay, this comes from an ancient Hindu tradition called fire breath. Right? So it's really good for the body. And if you do yoga, you probably know fire breath already. So it's really great for activating the sympathetic nervous system in a really positive way so that the adrenal response in the body is healing and strengthening, right? So that's why it's such a good practice for us. So it's something like this. Okay, now let's go ahead and practice that. So go ahead in and out and where you feel comfortable, right? If is more comfortable for you, that's fine. We want to keep the breath relatively shallow and we want to make sure that the mouth stays closed. If you open your mouth, you can hyperventilate and we really don't want to do that, right? That's very uncomfortable. So in and out through the nose. Okay, now the only other piece, now a full-blown fire breath or dynamic breath, we stand up and we really get involved with our legs and everything. And today we're gonna, and if it feels good, we're gonna use our arms as well. When I do this with students, they always call it the chicken dance. So we're gonna breathe in and we're gonna raise our arms at the same time. So, okay, so let's go ahead and give that a shot. Now I'm gonna go for about a minute. Please just do what feels comfortable for you. If you get lightheaded, if you need to stop, then stop. If you stay with me, stay with me. If you want to go faster, okay? Whatever feels great to you, just go ahead and do it. But as we do it, really focus on just maintaining a nice, steady pace and rhythm. Okay, here we go. Breath in. Staying with it, staying with it. If, like, again, if you need to slow down, slow down. If you want to increase, increase, but keep breathing. I'm a little lightheaded, but it feels good. My dogs are really into it. All right, now go ahead and let your body relax. And now what I want you to do is I just want you, if you're seated, go ahead and grab hold of your knees or the edge of your chair If you can let your eyes close, let them close. If you need to look at the floor or look at something in front of you, do that. But feel your body, feel the energy, right? In ancient cultures, they knew this as chi or shakti, right? It's the energy flowing through the body. You know, in the parlance of our community, this is oxygen flowing through your bloodstream, activating the body. And you can feel it, can't you? Feel your hands. How do they feel? Do you feel the increase in the blood pressure as your body is coursing through your body? And just notice it and stay with your breath. How does your breathing feel right now? How does your whole body feel right now? Now we're going to drop down and down into a nice seated meditation. Go ahead and just let your body breathe however it wants to breathe. But just notice the fact that you're breathing just like you've done since the moment you were born, and just as you will do until the last breath escapes the lungs. Keep noticing your body and the energy in your body. And if there's a good feeling, stay with that and just observe it. If you're a little older, like me, yeah, there's a little pain in the lower back, a little ripple through the forehead. I'm just going to stay with it. Just going to notice it, not judge it, just observe, feeling that energy coursing through my body. If it feels good to take some nice deep breaths, whatever feels appropriate to you in this moment. You might try letting your breath become really shallow and quiet and see how that affects your body. And as always, when those thoughts begin to race or when noises in your environment pull you away from your breath and your body, take notice. See what's so important, and then just gently release and come back to your breath, back to your body. Does your body get heavier and heavier with each out breath? Can you let it? If it doesn't, that's okay. No judgment. We're just noticing. I invite you to scan gently down through your body, noticing what's happening there. Maybe start at the crown of your head, just noticing, just being there with this part of ourselves. And then dropping gently down like someone's gently pouring some warm, perfectly temperatured water right down over your body. And that's a pleasant experience. Notice your forehead, muscles around your eyes, your brow, temples, ears, back of your head. Notice your cheeks, your jaw, down into your neck. Notice the back of your neck. And you can let your awareness just run down your spine, noticing what's happening there. You feel the little muscles in your spine managing your body's position. Noticing your shoulders and your chest, sternum, the shoulder blades, rib cage, and your tummy, your lower back. Noticing your hips, your seat, where you're resting against whatever you're sitting on. Noticing the pressure there, or the lack of pressure there. Pelvis, hips, your thighs. Balance all of that with your breath moving in and moving out. Down into your knees, your shins, your calves, ankles, tops of your feet. Let that run all the way down to the bottom of your feet, your heels, all the way out to the tips of your toes. See if you can hold your whole body in awareness as you breathe in and breathe out. It's okay if you can't. Just notice what you can be aware of. Very often our meditation time is the one time where we're really gentle with ourselves. We can practice nurturing ourselves and being kind and feeling relaxed. I love starting each day with a meditation so that I start every day feeling just like this. Relaxed, connected, aware. And again, any thoughts that come up, or if you've been on a little journey in your mind and you're just coming back, that's okay. Just gently release after taking note of whatever it is. And come back to the breath, back to the body. Just letting go. And now reconnecting to your body in this time, in this place. I invite you to take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And a nice long slow exhale, beginning to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. And whenever you're ready, opening your eyes. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me for Midweek Mindfulness. Thank you to Leah at UR Alumni Relations for making this possible every week. And I hope that you all have a truly blessed and mindful week. Thank you so much.